So today we're going to be diving into a topic that is quite crucial for both landlord and tenants in Nigeria, and this is called tenancy agreement. Before I continue with this video, I'm going to be welcoming you guys back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope this video is going to make you click on that subscribe button. So whether you're a first time renter or you're a seasoned landlord, understanding the ins and outs of tenancy agreements is quite crucial, and it is going to save you from a lot of headaches. Anyways, let's get right into the video. So when we talk about tenancy agreements, we're basically just trying to say that it is a contract between a landlord and a tenant which sets out the rules and conditions of that rental agreement or arrangement. It sets out the ground rules for both parties in order to avoid any form of misunderstanding or confusion. So now we're going to be breaking down the key components of a tenancy agreement. These are the key elements you should pay close attention to whether you are actually drafting a tenancy agreement as a landlord or you are signing one as a tenant. Your tenancy agreement should clearly state the names and addresses of both parties. And when I say both parties, I mean the landlord and the tenant. This is very important in order to avoid any form of confusion later on. When we talk about property details, it's just basically trying to talk about that your tenancy agreement should state the full addresses and also specify or give a very good description of that rental property. Make sure that this property details includes any fixtures or any fittings included in the rental. When we talk about terms of tenancy, it's just basically trying to say that your tenancy agreement should include the duration of that rental period, that is the start date and the end date. Also make sure that your tenancy includes the procedures in case of renewal or termination. Rent payment details is just basically saying that your tenancy agreement should clearly state the amount of that rent, how often it is to be paid, that is whether it is going to be monthly or it is going to be annually, the procedures you are going to be using to pay, and the method you are going to be using to pay for the rent also. Your tenancy agreement must outline the responsibilities of both the landlord and the tenants in terms of maintenance of that property. That is, it has to outline the utilities of both the tenant and the landlord, whether the tenant is going to be in charge of electricity bills, the water, the gas, and so that has to do with that rental property. Just in case you don't know the meaning of subletting, this has to do with whether you as a tenant, whether you are allowed to actually rent out a part of your rented apartment to a third party. So basically, your tenancy agreement must clearly state whether you are allowed to sublet to a third party or not. And in a situation whereby the contract or agreement actually allows you to sublet, the contract must actually state the process of subletting, whether you are supposed to get an oral consent or a written consent from a landlord, and the process you are supposed to go through or the things you are supposed to do before you can actually sublet to a third party. When we talk about termination clause, your tenancy agreement should clearly state in details the conditions under which either party can actually terminate that contract, including required notice periods. Both parties must sign and date the tenancy agreement. If this is not done, you guys, I repeat, if this is not done, it is not going to be legally binding. And there are some situations whereby the signatures of witnesses can also be required. Depends on the landlord and the tenant if you want to include witnesses. But it's advisable to do that too. Very advisable. So everything I have stated earlier are the key components of a tenancy agreement. I will also advise you that it is very important for you not just to collect the tenancy agreement and sign without reading. Make sure you read through and you understand every single thing. Also, do not depend on verbal agreements. Everything you and the landlord have agreed verbally, make sure it is written down in your tenancy agreement. It is also very important for you to get a written copy of that tenancy agreement, either as a landlord or as a tenant. It is also very important to be aware of the legal requirements of a tenancy agreement in your country. You know, every country differs. I'm currently talking about Nigeria, but like, you never can tell if it is different in another country. So it is very important to know the local laws and the regulation in that country when it comes to tenancy agreement. So you guys, we've gotten to the end of this video. I hope this video was of help to you and to you guys. If you've watched this video to this extent, you've watched it to this period, you've watched it from the beginning to this place, I want you guys to type the law so I can know my people. So for more legal tips and information, do not forget to click on that notification bell and your subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope to see you guys in my next video. Ciao.